Thanks, handbells. What a way to kick it off. Nice. Good morning. My name is Kathy McNichols. My pronouns are she, her, and I will be your worship associate this morning. We are delighted that you are here with us today. Whether online or here in person, it's great to be with you. No matter how you look or who you love, we are glad you are here. Even if your heart is still 2 sizes too small, we appreciate you. We have an abundance of love and compassion here. Thank you for coming. This morning, we are going to be celebrating the holidays, Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, whatever you're celebrating. And we will be talking about what you would do this holiday season if you were God. I hope you will join in the conversation. As I light our chalice, our handbells are going to play for us This Christmas. Again, thank you for coming. No, Last Christmas. Sorry, that was a typo. That was not me. Last Christmas.
Good morning, everyone. We're going to have a sing-along now. Please stand if you're able and join us for Joy to the World. Some of the lyrics might not be what you're used to, so be sure to look at the screen.
Holly jolly, holly, holly jolly, holly jolly, holly, holly jolly, holly jolly, holly, holly jolly,
It's the best
holly jolly, holly, holly jolly, holly jolly, holly, holly jolly,
so have
holly
a
jolly,
cup of
holly,
tea.
holly jolly, have a holly jolly Christmas.
Holly jolly,
And when you walk down the street,
holly jolly,
say hello to friends you know and everyone you meet.
holly jolly. Oh, the mistletoe hung where you can see. Somebody waits for you, kiss her once for me. Have a holly jolly Christmas,
Holly jolly,
and in case you
holly jolly,
didn't
holly, holly jolly.
oh, by golly, have a holly jolly Christmas this year.
Holly jolly, holly, holly jolly, 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 holly jolly, holly, holly jolly.
Holly jolly, holly, holly jolly, holly jolly, holly, holly jolly, holly jolly, holly, holly jolly, holly jolly, holly, holly jolly. Oh, the mistletoe hung where you can see. Somebody waits for you, kiss her once for me. Have a holly jolly Christmas,
Holly jolly,
and in case you
holly jolly,
didn't
holly, holly jolly.
oh, by golly, have a holly jolly Christmas this year.
Holly jolly, holly, holly jolly.
Good morning.
We've been having a lot of fun this Christmas. We had a snowball fight here 2 weeks ago, and now we've got the kazoos all tuned up and going. But there are several people right here in our fellowship who are not having such a holly jolly Christmas. We've got a family right now who lost their car this last month due to repossession. And they're also being threatened with being removed from their home. We have another family who just received custody of their children that they weren't expecting because their ex-spouse passed away. We have another member who's living on the streets. And these are all people that are coming. They're right here. They're amongst us. Many of you know these stories. We have a minister discretionaries fund that's set up to help with these kinds of situations. But as you can imagine, we don't have nearly the kind of funds that we need to be able to help even just these 3 people. So this week, we are taking a little inward turn and inviting you to share the plate with us this week for the Minister's Discretionary Fund. So we're going to ask the bells to come back up. They're going to play, and while they do, the ushers are going to pass around the basket. Everything that goes into this basket is going to the Minister's Discretionary Fund. Okay, this is not for the budget. This is for the Minister's Discretionary Fund. So as the bells come, they're going to play, and while they do, I encourage you to give generously and help make this a more holly jolly Christmas for some of our members. Thank you very much. All right, our choir is coming back up to sing for us, and while they do, we invite our children to go and be a part of the children's religious education program. I think they're finishing up their study of Buddhism, or no, actually they're in Christianity this month, so that will be a wonderful time. So if you'd like to come and be a part of that, if you're a child age, school age kid, or youth, we have a program for you. You can go right out this door, and we will meet you there. Now our choir is going to come and sing for us now. All right. I invite you to join in the conversation this morning. We're back on Menti. If you're joining us online or here in the audience, you can just use that QR code right there. Or just go to menti.com, and our session number this morning is 17892593. I'm going to ask you a couple of fun questions this morning. All right, menti.com, you got it? Everybody got the QR code? Are we ready to move on? Yeah, we got it. 17892593. It's over here on Old School if you missed it, or I've got it on the screen right down here. It's at the very top of the screen, but it's kind of hard to read sometimes. 1789-2593. All right, here we go. Coal in your stocking. What in the world would you do if you were God? You know, the God of the Bible, all-powerful, all-knowing. What would you do all day? You know, you can live anywhere in the universe. You can eat all the McRibs you want and never gain weight. You could hang out with the most creative and brilliant people. Of course, you'd know the punchline to every joke before it was said. That would be a downer. But maybe you think you'd spend all your time answering prayers. Kind of like this. I forgot to warn the sound people that we got a video here. It's going to come up on your channel for the PC. Here it comes.
Well, you took the job, Bruce, so I suggest you get to it.
Seeing him smile would make me so happy.
Prayers, okay, prayers. This creepy whisper thing has to end. Organization and management. That's what I need. I need a system, something concrete. Concentrate. Files. Let all prayers be organized into files. Well, that takes care of the voices. Not exactly a space saver, though. Grace might notice. I know. Prayer Post-its! Okay, I need something with a lock. Security, combination, password. A password? Yo! You've got prayers. Welcome to the Revelation Superhighway. We bless, no mess. Downloading now. It's good. It's good. This is gonna take a while. 1,527,503 prayer requests. I better manifest some coffee. Hola, Juan Valdez.
Buenos días.
Buenos días.
Disfruta un buen café.
Gracias, señor.
Adiós.
Adios. Now that's fresh mountain-grown coffee from the hills of Colombia. Okay, I had to have made some kind of a dent by now. Oh, come on! Oh! What a bunch of whiners. This is gonna suck up my whole life. You know what? Yes, to all! Yeah, there you go. Now everybody's happy.
If only, right? You get to decide which football team wins the Super Bowl. Or not. You could decide what to do with politicians who abuse their power. You could destroy the earth and start over again, if you pleased. What would you do? What would you do? As I ponder this, I think after a few centuries of McRibs, I might get bored. I would want some adventure. But how does someone with omnipotence ever get a thrill? You know, the thrill of a roller coaster is the belief that you might not survive it, right? It would be totally lost on you if you were God. You know, come to think of it, I think God would be pretty boring. Nothing would be funny because there would be no surprises. There would be no joy in discovering anything new people, new facts, new ideas. Let's see, what did you say? What's the first miracle you would perform? And someone says, you know? No, I don't. That's why I'm asking. I would fix myself first. Okay. I would end all greed, put joy in people's hearts, basic income source for all. Nice. Peace on earth. You got to have that one. Fix my golf swing. Now, there's a serious person right there. Save Gaza. Wow. I would make everyone tell the truth. Are you sure you want that? Yeah. I can't remember. Ha ha. All right. I think if I were God, I would want to create a situation where I could be surprised. You know, there's this famous philosophical conundrum that asks, can God create a boulder that he can't lift? Well, the answer is, yes, God can. To do it, God would have to limit their powers. They would have to temporarily make themselves unable to do certain things, shed omnipotence, and assume some limitations. So let's say God does this, and they find it exhilarating. I mean, God had to huff and puff and give it their all in order to budge that huge boulder. It was great fun. But back in their mind, they knew this was just temporary. I mean, God was playing a game with themselves. Even if God was able to lift the boulder in their limited state, they knew that once they reassumed their omnipotence, the boulder thing would be no more issue. So being the all-knowing creator, God decides to really try something freaky. What if God laid down all of their superhuman attributes? Not only that, what if God decided that they would also lay down their memory of who they were? So in this new test, God wouldn't know that they were God. They wouldn't know anything by default. They would have to learn and discover everything. There would be no way that God could predict what would happen. Would God mess up? Would God get killed? Holy cow, what an adventure! This would be a fun life. It's thrilling, it's insane, it's glorious, it's awful, all at the same time. What a rush. Now, to make things even more interesting, God doesn't assume one limited form. God assumes, let's see, what are we up to now? 8 billion forms. And they all interact, none of them knowing who they really are. They have to discover and learn together. Good morning, God. How's the adventure going today? The incarnation, God became flesh. God became human. It's a magnificent story, and it gets told in so many different religions and in so many different ways. Now, in the tradition I grew up in, God became flesh in order to save humanity. Now, depending upon which denomination you were part of, that life-saving may take the form of a blood sacrifice, or it might simply be that God showed us a better way to live. And as a tip of the hat to our Universalist forebears, they believed that God became flesh to pay a blood sacrifice, but this sacrifice applied to any and everyone, whether you accepted it or not. Everybody goes to heaven. That's the Universalist. But regardless of what you think about incarnation myths, I think there's something important that we can learn. There's a universal truth being expressed, whether the events described are literally true or not. Put very simplistically, we could say the way up is down. Thich Nhat Hanh poetically says the way out is in. We could say to succeed, you must fail. Jesus said to live, we have to die. In the Christian story, what does the God of the universe decide is the best thing they can do? They decide to lay down their godness and become frail. Lay down perfection and become weak. Lay down control and become powerless. God gives up self-sufficiency and takes on interdependency. Whoa. The being that knows everything and can do literally anything chooses this. We in our capitalistic society are so success-oriented, we recoil when we think about giving up assets. The Sufi prophet Rumi tells us to beg God to punish us more. What? Many of us love to point to Jesus' Sermon on the Mount and claim it's the most beautiful teaching of all. And yet, how many of us want to be poor, to weep, to mourn, to be hated and abused? It's exactly what Jesus said was the most blessed. How can this possibly be true? Do you make Christmas wish lists in your family? People either love them or hate them. But if I were making my Christmas wish list, I wouldn't put suffering on there, or illness, certainly not poverty. Who in their right mind wants coal in their stocking? And yet, if I'm honest, I'll tell you that the times that have changed me for the better have all involved pain. They've all involved things happening to me that I never wanted to happen, things I begged God not to let happen. And yet they did. Remember what Samwise said to Frodo when they were about to lose all hope in that Lord of the Rings movie? He said, "It's like the great stories, Mr. Frodo, the ones that really mattered, full of darkness and danger they were. And sometimes you didn't know the end, because how could the end be happy? How could the world go back to the way it was when so much bad had happened? But in the end, it's only a passing thing, this shadow. Even darkness must pass. A new day will come, and when the sun shines, it'll shine out the clearer." I know now folks in those stories had lots of chances to turn back, only they didn't. They kept going because they were holding on to something. There's some good in this world, Mr. Frodo, and it's worth fighting for. When we get into crisis, we have a choice to make. We can give up, we can turn back, or we can hope. People who press on, they're holding on to something. And here's the deal, you have to hold on to hope and keep going if you want to see the good in this world, to see that which is worth fighting for. We don't see the good when things are going our way, not the good that Samwise was talking about. We see eternal, hope-filled good when life is at its worst, when all hell is breaking loose. That's when we reach down inside ourselves and find a reason to live. We find hope. Mr. Rogers says that in a crisis, we should look for the helpers. We should look for the good in this world, because that is when we see it. And that hope of goodness in this world is the most precious thing of all. It is worth fighting for. It's worth giving up your godness for. Incarnation. Why would God give up everything to become a human? So that they could experience holding on to something. To see the good in this world, to have something worth fighting for. As I look at the Beatitudes from the Sermon on the Mount, if I look deeply, I can see that I am one of the blessed ones that Jesus describes. Poor in spirit, mourning, persecuted. I don't admit this very often. In fact, admitting it takes enormous effort on my part. I have to get brutally honest. I have to lay down my pride, empty myself. And I think this is the real message of the Beatitudes. It's the ones who've laid down their pride who are the most blessed. And I think this is the message for us in the incarnation. It's when we consciously decide to stop being prideful, when we admit our vulnerability, that is when we find real life, the thing worth fighting for. It's in brokenness that we find the peace that we crave. So the invitation today is for you and me to incarnate. Assume the position and identity of weakness. Become as a little child, Jesus said. Be frail. Be hurtable. Be needy. In short, become human. Incarnation. We don't consider this very often, but you and I are made of atoms. And the real question is why? Why do we exist? Being you is not a gratifying experience on the atomic level. For all their devoted attention, your atoms do not actually care about you. Indeed, they don't even know you are there. They don't even know that they are there. They're mindless particles, right? After all, and they're not even alive themselves. Let that sink in. You are literally made of dead stuff. If you were to pick yourself with a piece of Twizzlers, one atom at a time, you would produce a mound of fine atomic dust, none of which had ever been alive, but all of which had once been you. Yet somehow, for the period of your existence, these atoms will answer to a single, overarching impulse to keep you, you. This mound of atomic dust is not you. Rather, you are the relationship among those various protons, neutrons, electrons that make up that dust. The renowned philosopher Alfred North Whitehead believed this principle applied to everything in the universe whatsoever. Everything is constituted by its relationship to other things. The thing that keeps these billions of atoms together as you is this: their relationship to one another. You are literally being held together by a relationship. It's really not very far leap to say that we are literally being held together by love. Is it? Just knowing this much about atoms, then we can see that to exist means to be dependent. There is no existence without all kinds of things, like atoms, working together in relationship to one another. This is what existence is. And this is what incarnation is all about. For something like God to come into existence, it means they became dependent on this interdependent universe of ours. Well, seen this way, the phrase God is love takes on a whole new meaning, doesn't it? God is love. God is relationship. God is interdependence. And to bring this home, if the first principle of all existence is utter dependence, then the deadliest of all sins is believing in the myth of self-sufficiency. To forget or to ignore this ever-present dependence is self-delusion. Some would say it's the ultimate sin. What can possibly save us from our self-delusion? Salvation comes through gratitude. Gratitude is the means by which we remember both our identity, and our duty. And gratitude is a much easier pill to swallow than suffering or mourning. You know, I don't mind getting some additional gratitude in my stocking. Throw in some awe and some mystery, too. That feeling of awe and gratitude emerges from the experience of the grandeur of life, the mystery of it all. We see something amazing like the Grand Canyon or a starry night, and we get a sense of inexpressible exhilaration at being alive and the sense of utter dependence upon things other than ourselves. This sense of awe and dependence should give us a discipline of gratitude, which constantly acknowledges that our present experience depends upon other sources that make it possible. What did you say brings you awe? The sun, the Grand Canyon, looking at stars, a good story? Music, yes, music. Cats. Oh boy. It's when we forget to be thankful that life decides to get our attention through events that we call suffering. My sponsor in AA calls these attention-getting events effing growth opportunities. If you find yourself surrounded by effing growth opportunities, the thing most needed is gratitude. A couple of weeks ago, we talked about the Four Noble Truths, about how our suffering is caused by our attachments, our desires that things work a certain way. One of the best ways to let go of attachments is gratitude, to accept how things are, and to be thankful for the good in this world. Remember, it's in the hard times that we truly see the real good of this world, and that is a time to be thankful. So we're going to end our time this morning by practicing thankfulness. Each of you have been given some sticky notes and a pen, and I'm going to ask you to write one or two more things that you are thankful for this morning. All right? And then we're going to stick those up on the wall here in just a second. While you're jotting down your things that you're thankful for, let me close with this story. A professor walked into a classroom, and he handed out to each student a paper, writing side down. She walked to the front of the classroom and said, "Okay, turn over your paper. Your assignment is to tell me everything you can about what's on the other side." So the students turned the paper over, and what they saw was this dot, a single black dot in the middle of the paper. So each began to write, and at the end of the time period, the professor picked up the students' writings and looked them over. And she said, each of you wrote things about the dot that you saw in the middle of the paper. You wrote about its location and position, the size and quality, lots and lots of ways to analyze that dot, but none of you wrote about the rest of the paper. That enormous white area, that's not the dot. And yet there was so much more of the white area than the black. And that is exactly what our lives are like. The majority of our lives can be smooth, clean sailing, easy, simple, but what we are hardwired to focus on is that dot. That's what we notice, the difficult, the atypical, that stuff isn't what we expected it to be. So I want to encourage you to try in the next few days to focus not on the problems, but on the stuff in your life that is good, that you can be thankful for, because this is what changes your perspective. All right, everybody have something written down? All right, I'm going to ask you to stand and go put it up on the wall somewhere. It doesn't stick very well to the material, but you can stick it on the little wall pieces in between. While you do that, Maddie's going to play. Once you put yours up, go around and look at what other people wrote, and then make your way back to your seat. We'll close in just a moment. All right, thank you very much. You may be seated. Got a couple of quick announcements for you. Thank you for being here. Happy holidays to everyone. Right after the service, we're having hors d'oeuvres, however you say that word. We're going to celebrate them and we're going to eat them and munch on them. I hope you brought some good stuff to share. But stick around and have a good conversation with your friends. This Wednesday night at 7 o'clock, even though that says 10:30, it's going to be at 7 o'clock p.m. Christmas Eve, we're having a really special service, lots of music. We've got some guest musicians coming in, a guitar soloist and an octet that's going to be coming to sing, plus a lot of our normal, everyday, wonderful musicians right here from the UUFF. It's a really fun time, and I encourage you to come out at 7 o'clock Wednesday night. Next Sunday is going to be the most unusual service we've ever done. It's going to be a service of dance. You get to be here and do the dance. There's a program called International Dance for Peace that celebrates different traditions, different religious traditions, and takes some of their thoughts, sets them to a very simple tune and to a very simple circle dance. And so we are going to learn a couple of those circle dances and a couple of those songs together, and we're going to do them next Sunday. Don't be afraid. Come and have a good time. It's going to be a lot of fun. Last week, because of our snow, we had to postpone our end-of-life conversation, so that event has been moved to January the 11th. So what is that, 3 weeks from today? And we'll remind you about that, but that had to be postponed because of the snow last week. And thank you for your cooperation last week. I hope everybody stayed safe and dry. All right, Kathy, come.
Turn the page. Before I read what's here, I just want to say that my joy, and I think the joy for a lot of you, is the wonderful music that Catherine and Maddie and all of our musicians provide to us throughout the year. So thank you so much. I invite everyone now to stand as you are able. If you have a joy or concern on your heart now, I invite you to come forward and place a pebble in the bowl of water as a symbol of what you are holding in your heart. I invite you to do that now as Maddie plays. The UUFF needs your generous support. If you love this fellowship and want to be an integral part of making it a success, I encourage you to invest in us. Together, we can build a vibrant community of people who love each other and who work to make Fredericksburg a kinder place. If you are not giving on a regular basis, I encourage you to consider becoming a monthly donor. We also have an offering basket in the back for your donations. You can also give by credit card online or in person. See David if you have questions. Please join us in saying our closing words. May the joy of this season inspire us to become more compassionate, more patient, and more loving to each other and to everyone we meet. Go in peace.